Hello, Alex here for StepByStepMusic.com, and I want to tell you the six-string bass is my favorite instrument in the whole world. It's the most fun but challenging instrument that I've ever played. So today we're going to look at right hand technique. Today I'm going to give you 4 rules for excellent right hand technique that apply to any basses, but for today specifically to the six-string bass. If you're a new bass player looking to get started playing bass the right way, or if you are a more experienced bass player looking to clean up any bad habits you may have formed, this lesson is for you. And before we get started, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below, what is your specific challenge with your six-string bass? The first thing I want to do is sell you on the concept of technique. Technique is how we do things. Technique for a musician is extremely important so that we can have the maximum power, control, and efficiency with our instrument. I want power over the instrument. I want complete control over what's going on, and I want to do that as efficiently as possible. Not only is it because I'm possibly a little bit lazy and I just don't want to work any harder than I have to, but it's also because that's how you're going to sound your best. If you are getting the best gas mileage out of your, in this case, the right hand and those fingers, then you're going to put more energy into that instrument. So let's take a look at how we actually do that. Rule number 1 is to have a thumb rest. So when you're playing your lowest string on our 6th string, that's usually going to be a B string, the easiest place is generally to be on the pickup there. And different basses will, of course, have the pickups in different places. They'll have different shapes. And so that's not always conducive to playing. You can also just rest on the actual body of the instrument or somewhere else. Sometimes there's a pick guard or something there for you to rest on. We also want to be generally in closer to the neck pickup or closer to the neck section of the bass rather than way back here. It's going to be a lot more pliable, just easier to play there, and it's going to sound better too. So you can rest on the neck, you can rest on the pickup, you can rest on the body, but generally you're going to want to have a thumb rest somewhere so you can make contact with the instrument and have some sort of opposing force when you're plucking those strings. Once you move to the very next string, you can go ahead and drop your thumb to the lowest string. So here I'm resting on my B string, and I'm going to go ahead and pluck my E. And as I move to higher and higher strings, I also want to be comfortable moving that thumb in so that I can get even closer to those higher and higher strings. With your thumb and your fingers together like that, you are much stronger, much more powerful, have much more control over the instrument than if you're wide open like this. So I really don't want to be resting on my pickup and trying to play my high C string. I've lost a lot of power and I've lost a lot of control over the instrument. And of course, I'm not as efficient either. Rule number 2 has to do with the number of fingers that we're using. So if you play bass or guitar, we call these fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you ever play piano, we have 5 fingers. That's a whole different story. But this is going to be our finger 1 for our bass or for our guitar setup. So yeah, I can just play with 1 finger, but I want you to play with at least 2 fingers so that you get a little bit more speed and agility with that right hand. Personally, I like to play with 3 fingers on the right hand. I feel like this gives me much more flexibility, speed, agility, all that good stuff that comes with playing from 2 fingers. You get even more with 3 fingers. You don't have to feel like you need to play with 3 fingers. If your bass needs are fairly simple, then that's okay. But if you want to really, really maximize your own potential, I recommend getting started with 3 fingers right away. You're much better off starting that way, having it slow you down just a little bit now in the short term than you are learning with 2 fingers and then months or years down the line you try to add that 3rd finger. It's going to be much more difficult to sort of backfill that technique. 2 fingers is fine, 3 is great, and if you want to use 3, start now. Rule number 3 I call bass attack, which is just kind of fun and it sounds cool. So when you pluck a string or start a note in music, any note at all, we call that the attack. So the attack is when the note starts. So bass attack. And what I mean by that is when you attack the note, when that note starts, attack it like it's a bass. So guitar players will tend to pull up on the string like this. And this is the sound that I get. Now, I'm not going to use any more force, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in this direction, not in this direction, not up this way, but towards the lower string, lower being the next thicker string. I'm going to pull towards that string, and I'm going to land on that string. And I didn't use any more force versus playing like this. Now, which one sounds more like a bass to you? Let me know in the comments. Do you like the guitar attack, or do you like the bass attack? In our tradition of playing bass, we're usually looking for this sound. Nice, big, full-bodied bass sound. So, use the bass attack. Pull the string towards the lower string, and this is key, make sure you land on that next lower string. Use your bass attack and land on the string below you. The only exception would be your lowest string. If you're playing a 6th string, it's probably a B string. So, in that case, I have to make sure and I pull this way rather than pulling up that way. There's no string to land on, but I want to pretend like there's a string there, and I want to hit that spot where that next lower string would be. You also get to mute that string for free, meaning you don't have to think about it. It gets muted automatically. Muting is going to be our next topic. We're going to get into that a little bit more in just a second. But if I have this E string ringing, and I go ahead and I play this A string, and I land on that E string, for no extra charge, that E string got muted. I got a great sounding A, and my bonus is my E stopped ringing. If I don't do that, it sounds like this. I hit my E, now I pull my A up. You hear that? Nobody wants to hear that. That's not why we're here. My fourth and final rule today for basic 6-string right-hand technique on your bass is to do with muting. Now, I want to talk about muting for a second. Half of playing bass is not playing bass. What? Here's what I mean. The bass strings like to ring. That's what they do. They're really good at it. And when you're playing bass, if you're not constantly touching the strings, even the ones you're not playing, especially the ones you're not playing, they're going to tend to start to ring. And what you just heard, that E and that A ringing together, yeah, exactly that. That sound is going to happen a lot. It's going to happen at different points in your playing. And again, that's not why we're here. We don't want all those strings ringing when we don't want them. Muting is extremely important, and it's really a whole nother topic to get into, and it goes into all the different techniques that we can possibly have with bass. But for today, we're going to talk about specifically the 6-string bass and how muting on that can be a challenge. But we're also going to talk about how we overcome that challenge. And before I show you how to mute with the right hand, I'm going to go ahead and show you why it's so important. Let me give you a little demonstration. I'm going to play an E on my G string. That's going to be my 9th fret there on the G, and I'm not going to touch any other strings. I'm going to go ahead and use my bass attack, and I'm going to slam into my D string below, but I'm not going to touch anything else with either hand. And now I've stopped that string that I played, but listen. I'll do it again. You hear that? It's got this ghostly ringing out going on. That's not what we want. I'll try a D sharp now. So going down a fret, going to the 8th fret on that same string. You hear that? It's ringing out. Okay, I'm going to go way up to my 14th fret now, playing an A also on the G string. Ooh, that's a much higher tone this time. Still ringing out. This phenomenon of playing a string and then having other strings ring is not unique to the 6-string bass. However, it tends to happen a lot more with the 6-string bass, and it's one of the reasons that it can be much more challenging to play. So now that you know what we're not trying to do, let me show you how we accomplish that. When you're on your B string, your lowest string, the left hand is actually going to be doing all the muting. I'm not going to be trying to be touching these strings while I'm playing this string. It's just not practical, and it's just not going to work out for us. So the left hand takes over muting there. But once I move to playing my E string, that thumb sitting there, as I mentioned before, is also muting that string. When I drop down to play my A string, not only can I mute that E string, but you can see that my thumb is digging in sideways. I'm not missing my B. I'm actually laying right on top of it. I can mute both of these strings at once. As I drop to my next string, I'm going to let my thumb pull back a little bit, and I am actually hitting both of those, all three of those strings really, with that one thumb. So now I'm going to play those same three notes I played earlier. Here's my E on the G string, 9th fret. I stop it, I have no sound. Nothing else is ringing because I'm not allowing them to. Now I go down to my 8th fret, playing the D sharp. Again, no sound. I'll try that A again, 14th fret, still on the G string. No sound there either. It's like magic. By just resting my thumb rather aggressively into these strings, I'm able to effectively keep them from ringing. So congratulations, you have now graduated from Alex's School of Basic Right Hand Technique for your 6-string bass. Yay! Those 4 rules should get you started in the right direction or possibly clean up some of the less desirable techniques that you may have gotten accustomed to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the studio.